I marriage certain I can have a piece of the table besides the point I marriage. I marriage certain I can have a piece of my car for the table besides the point I I marriage certain I can have a piece of my car for the table besides the point I allowed myself to be set free for the mercy of Christ and for the rebirth for the I've been able to see things clearly to acknowledge that my soul for the purpose of the earth to help you. We aren't the victims and we aren't the survivors, we are the warriors, and by the time we learn from how to fight the battle strategically, this is my testimony again, things will get better for the I, the continuation will be I and I, star in this man, sort of like the abracadabra that came up your sleeve and watch me carefully enough and not try to be something that you really are. Yes, you're trying to make that point behind that curtain to be a bit out of focus, but guessing what's behind that back for the best if you didn't notice enough of the hocus pocus. Trying not to the only this and this is more for the sleight of the hand than watching you pull out of the half the left and then your life demand. You say it's magic of the pen and begin. Even where you stand for this is no more than a sleight of hand. I wanted to be that, for this is where you can find me. Stop that down for destruction instead of blaming it only on destruction. Find the sight. So I already admit inside of that book. It was color red for the Brian Harsh beats. Reminds me of blind trips and I know from already anthems. Needs to set the verse and now I blue like the orbital. Baby, the color for that for the breathing is a must. And we are the tree you love for the foot of lesson. Isn't it funny the dust in time? Where do we end up for the end? Stardust. You can remain proud for the style, for the nostalgia, for the years of drowning yourself, for the feelings and that worn out, for the aging of maybe and laying to confront those feelings that I'm dealing with now, for the reminiscing of the old times and never those who were easier, for the slight feeling that felt like the end of the world with the music. It reminds me of how much it is like for the sound from this moment when I can find myself in the driving in the curiosity that I was a child. I can do it.
The crunching music gone crashing, mopeds all around. Painted with the learning, out in some exotic funerals that surround.
They say it's my fault, but combine that stress you with small things and left you.
Grown-up these children like turning men to flesh. Feel the trouble she when she pays her softly.
Let me lay on it, start from wanting to hold myself close to me, falling and sinking inside of myself. The meditation, the place of state of mind. That's not mind at all. Feels to be separated from you.
Listen to the crunching music of the crashing, mopeds all around. Painted with the learning, out in some exotic funerals. the sky like leaping timber. Dreams so wonderful. Grown feast on his children like turning man.
Again, they're playing tonight at the Moore Theater, and the new album number 4, Sex and Food. Again, thank you guys for being here. Ruben?
Listen to the crunching music of the crashing mopeds all around. Painted with the learning powders of exotic funerals that surround. Grown-up feast on his children like turning mango flesh. In the trouble seas when she pays off the police. Infections fill my head like springtime flower beds and evaporating trash.
Maybe if you saw
The skull like leaking timber for me. Dreams so on.
Maybe if you saw to your
Maybe if you solder your poems into the bones and turn them. Maybe if you solder your poems into the bones and turn those twilight hours into chapter years and make this manifested time for the endless of when my eyes in brief flatline. You tell me the seconds and will pain us. Was toxic enough for the first thought, but I thought it was the lips, and it was the lips for the second that I thought was the liking of the lips, and it felt for the home in the moment for the lips that met mine. Finally, I thought for the time that I didn't like. Maybe it was that for the hollow for the chest, and the infected with the every morning for the without that people who would tangle each other. The eyelashes put the dust inside the eyes to feel my roots decaying. See my soul wasted away. It was a light, it was a light. It was a tossing and turn for the fear, for the life, for the shadows of moving, for the wind is howling enough, and I'm stuck with the life of the glowing with the weather that leads and step to this is the protecting of the where is the my light would be running in my mind for someone can light. Silence that speaks for the lips, and this is the eyes that shine with a million stories. And some of hers in feeble mind for these and the melodies, and the drown with me for this and something peaceful about that water for the way it touches you, pulls you up to the depths. Wrapping the angles and over the stipple together in layers.
Music on the crashing mopeds all around.
Maybe if you solder your poems into the bones and turn those twilight hours into chapter hits and make this manifested time for the endless of when my eyes are flatline. You tell me the seconds and will pain us. Was toxic enough for the first thought, but I thought it was the lips, and it was the lips for the second that I thought was the liking of the lips, and the felt for the home in the moment for the lips that met mine. Finally, I thought for the time that I didn't like. Maybe it was that for the hollow for the chest, and the infected with the every morning for the without that people with the tangle. Each other, the eyelashes with the dust inside the eyes to feel my roots decaying. See my soul wasted away. It was a bright, it was a light, it was a tossing and turn for the fear, for the life, the shadows of moving, for the wind is howling enough, and I'm stuck with the light, the glowing with the weather, the leaves and step to this, the protecting of where is that my light would be running in my mind for someone tonight. Silence that speaks for the lips, and this is the eyes that shine with a million stories. And some of hers in feeble mind for these and the melodies, and the drown with me for this and something peaceful about that water for the way it touches you, pulls you up to the depths. Wrapping the angles and over the stiffer together with layers of soft with the calling to me. And the siren can't resist with the crushing waves and giving kisses and melodies and confused by the fluttering of better self. You don't deserve someone better, you deserve a better self. And are in love, it's whether or not you can enjoy it enough. And while it lasts, and hoping to love and outlast and never passing the written over the pages. And maybe it was the memories of the notes, and you can take the heart captive and keep it inside of the cage. A bitch, selfish, narcissist, lazy, arrogant bitch, and you can only snitch. You can only write as long as you can tell it. Bad story for the lonely spring days and the warmer for the birds trampling. Know the information isn't true. You would be lying, you would be caught up, and your karma will come back to you. And maybe ran over by that karma, you could find the knowing with something will end with down that rabbit hole. For you can play the games of the Grammy, for the intuition, for the sound, for the hospital sheep. You can face the clowns and who pulled up the hair for the glimmers of the sun. Slaps on the frown for the look at the ceiling for the pink and brown, so you can know who's constantly, who's the board for whose life was, or whose age was, whose looks for who remains the same for the stupid games you can play. There's a piece for that to be the glamour. No surprise for the cute disguise enough for this to be hidden for the ways that glide they ride in they sunrise. It'll be the back stain. You're the person who so much, but not for the earn, for the hope for someone to skip, and this not their turn for the burning. Every envy for the jealousy for the manifestation of the ears with your own success and to find that stress with someone making you feel
fast enough. You miss those opportunities. The real impact of not worried much about the made up facts. But this is the seam, the brain for the reenactment, for the fighting, the sleep, every conversation that went to south. The moment we left, we
start with the predicting of the online stuff with the work problem enough and walking into the mouth of the living of the day for each second. You can find the remembrance of the universe is still be right.
For the naked living inside of the bed, for the own regrets, for the sleeping with the thoughts and well we just never state. Made of facts, the brain to reenact. Upon that grace, and this could be me launching now for the heaven, and who dare God, for the only for the slicing up of it. Moving fast enough for you missed those opportunities. The real impact of not to worry much about the made up facts. For this is the seam, the brain for the reenactment, for the fighting, the sleep, for ever the conversation that went to south. The moment that we left with you. Realizing that we have left ourselves, left to standing inside of the bed.
Twilight hours
upon the blanket, enough you can feel with it. Be taking enough of the left, expose that. For the naked living inside of the bed, for the own regrets with the sleeping, get the thoughts and well we just never state. The made up facts, the brain to reenact. Upon that grace, and this could be me watching now for the heaven, and who dare God, for the only for the slicing up of whether you can be forgotten. Nursing pints in social clubs, eating the mackerel meal. Sat on the bench, watching the lovers in the sun, for the distant to be the smelling over the room, dreaming of the dudes who were forgotten, for the love who were broken, for the sweetest feeling we can have, for the hearts afraid to open, afraid to live. The pain will drape, these wounds will steep, the gas can show the brink, the life is falling, ice stinking, all the bottles erupt for the Gorgons and fall for the gut, for the murder you won't overlook, for the gruesome view, horror that's esteemed, for the death live on TV, for the live stream, you'll hear my voice, beg to be free. Watch you go for the spree, enough for the blood to cover everything but the damage beyond what's been seen. For the reality, not a dream, enough for the mean lead to your justice. Scream for the cries, the shrieks, the brutalized and torture to the mind for the world's eyes. Watch, silent and cruel to me for how cruel for the waking up for the memories you fried. Your friends will laugh that egg and you can hand the brushes unwanted skin for another pound for the encouragement for you can hang glide for the lower. You're so cruel for the one that spit under the blanket and loving the bruises on the I can rope around the neck for the you so cruel for the violence and you can go hand in hand for the throwing punches and you being mean is fine indeed is done for this is the kind to me for the holding on through what I'm crying or not for the telling whether I better be alive for the shit and one to be dying. Put that for the I can promise not to go proud for the squeezing. You to be sad for the Michael final moments and nights to be loud. Or is it melody? Or was the echo for the sacred land of my ancestors for the receiving and releasing? The fear crippling and just want to say the proud. To write for the I can vary be for the true ideal for the belief that don't really exist but the relativist. For resisting upon some instance for knowing when and how's it all going to begin for the lead you to the consciousness in which all possess both sides but can't make sense and we can find that truth simply plain for the obvious truth but be rooted in the pain. It'll be anonymous. There ain't no one perfect, no I ain't for this is the honor brightest for no I'm the lightest for me not to still to bleed the blood for all I want to be loved because not like you but it doesn't mean it for the matter too for just cause but I want to fit the magazine the stereotype of the fiction to live doesn't mean I ain't less than human than say I love you throw at me at worst with opinions and moan because for the nothing as long as I'm winning that's not the case for the days of tomorrow cautionary for the beauty When someone calls out for the checking of what you could believe, for the it ought to be free enough to have the birds and cages and flowers and vases and fireflies and glass jars to the butterflies with the pen and the stick, and whether you get kind of stuck and people suck and people post out of beauty, for they will blame you for the failing retain when you're just trying to survive. For that brain is called listen. Everyone has that pain, for it only had it, for the will to pay for the skill and have it. Or it was to have it for the sympathize, and you to need help for the stranger that cares you like you can only give a heart. Deserving for the love and the people all around you, from the make you beautiful, intelligent enough that you could be abusing. Not for the age of red line, for you to be more silver skinned, to those to be cloudy with the stain, for the age red like wine, for the words all I have to hold this a metaphorical with a pen in hand, for the carefully not letting it ink and leak out. All this to dry now. All this to soak you right up. Now I must be the ration inside of it all, for all that I can have. For when I run out for the dumping of the back of the golden for the coins and the worthless, and not for the city of the stars, and not to be the bike of the train. Must write on my way for the page and no rips and no shreds, and hold it to the head for the unto the pace, and plant a brain delay for the rest. And bliss. Swimming at a sea for watching the clouds effortlessly above me, for the things behind me to the earth. Housing the dirt for the stolen land, staining my hands, and I'm reminded of my ancestors, for the essence of living, go through me for the blood, for the royalty, I weep for the sea, for the fire, for the leaves, and the asking. Welcome, eternal sleep beneath that for the gum trees. Maybe you feel like a dancer with the unsung, with the melody, for the sound, for the beat, house settling with the silence. Clean the skin for the raking of the nails, along the flesh for the leading it lonely, they're only across the top for the together, for the wires alone, for the disability, the loneliness, for the lights, the eating of the food, what it consumed you, for every bit was all left in silence. You could be writing about your own life, at least you can have those words, and lost in word, and it really was stuck inside of me, for the words are loving me, and I haven't left me yet, for this is the reason why I close my eyes. You know my eye for the goodbye, for the cruel lies, and those cruel eyes, and those fun times, and I can feel the fear for you.
Mopeds all around, painted with the learning, how it's all exotic, funerals that surround them. Grown-ups feast on its children like turning made of flesh. Pressure in the skull like leaking timber on me. Dreams so wonderful. Grown-ups feast on his children like turning man of Will the trouble cease when she plays up?
KEXP. Again, they're playing tonight at the Moore Theater, and the new album number 4, Sex and Food. Again, thank you guys for being here. Ruben?
Listen to the crunching music of the crashing mopeds all around, painted with the funeral that surround grown feast on its children like turning mango flesh. In trouble sees when she pays off.
Moving fast enough for you, mister.
Moving fast enough for you miss those opportunities, the real impact, and not to worry much about the made up facts. For this to seem the brain for the reenactment, for the fighting and sleep, ever the conversation that went to south. The moment we left with you, realizing that what we have left instead for the death, the staring inside of the bed. For this to collapse upon the blanket, the empty, the feel with it, taking enough of the left, expose that. For the naked living inside of the bed, for the own regrets, for the sleeping of the thoughts and well we just never state. The made up facts, the brain to reenact. Upon that grace, and this could be me launching now for the heaven you dare to have for the only for the slices up of weather for you can be forgotten. Nursing pints and social clubs, eating the mackerel, sat on the bench, watching the letters in the sun for the this to be dismantled over the room, dreaming of the bills who were forgotten for the love who were broken for the sweetest feeling we can have, for the hearts afraid to open, afraid to live. The pain will drape. These wounds will steep, but the gas can show the brink. The life is falling nice, thinking all the bottles erupt for the gorgons and fall for the gut for the murders you won't overlook for the gruesome few. Horror that's esteemed for the death live on TV for the live stream. You'll hear my voice, beg to be free. Watch you go for the spree, enough for the blood to cover everything with the damage beyond what's been seen for the reality, not a dream. Enough for the need to do justice, scream for the cries, the shrieks, the brutalized and torture to the mind for the world's eyes. Watch. Silent and cruel to me for how cruel for the waking up for the memories you fry. Your friends will laugh that egg and you can hand the brushes an unwanted scan for another round with encouragement for you can hand glide for the lower. You're so cruel for the one that spit on the like and loving the bruises on the I can rope around the neck of you so cruel for the violence and you can go hand in hand with the throwing punches and you being mean is fine indeed is done for this is the kind to me for the holding on through what I'm crying or not for the telling of whether I better really be alive for this shit and one to be dying. Put that for the I can promise not to go proud for the squeezing. You either be sad for the Michael final moments and nice to be loud. Or is it melody? Or is the echo for the sacred land of mine? Ancestor for the receiving and releasing. The fear crippling and just want to say the proud. The right for the eye can bury be for the true ideal for the belief it don't really exist for the relativities. Resisting upon some instance for knowing when and how it all going to begin for the lead you to the consciousness in which all possess both sides but can't make sense and when we can find that truth simple to plan for the obvious truth and be rooted in the pain. It'll be anonymous. And ain't no one perfect, no I ain't for this I'm the brightest for nor I'm the lightest for not to still to bleed the blood for all I want to be loved because not like you for the doesn't mean it for the matter too for just cause but I want to fit the magazines and stereotype of the fiction to do doesn't mean I ain't less than human that say I love you. Throw at me at worship opinions in the room because for nothing as long as I'm winning. That's not the case for the days of tomorrow. Cautionary for the beauty. When someone calls out for the checking of what you would believe for the it ought to be free enough for the happy birds and cages and flowers and vases and fireflies and glass jars to the butterfly with the pen and the stick and with you kind of stuck and people suck and people post out of beauty for they will blame you for the failing retain when you're just trying to survive. For that brain is called listening. Everyone has that pain, but only had it. For the will to pain, but still only have it. Or it was to have it for the sympathize and you to be help for the stranger that cares you like you only give a heart. Deserving for the love and the people all around you feel amazing and beautiful, intelligent enough that you can be abused. Not for the age of red wine, for you to be more silver skinned to those that be plotting you'll be stained. For the age red like wine, for the words all I have, for the hostess and metaphorical with a pen in hand, for the carefully not letting the ink and leak out. All
Again,
this
they're
is
playing
dry
tonight at the
land.
Moore Theater.
All this is soaking right up.
Maybe if you saw the poems to the bones and turn those twilight hours into chapter hits and make this manifest in time for the endless of when my eyes will be flatline. Tell me the seconds
right
of
on my
pain.
way for the page and no rips and no shreds and hold it to the head.
Was the time too left for the first thought, but I thought it was the lips and it was the lips for the second that I thought was the liking of the lips and the felt for the home in the moment for the lips that met mine. Finally I thought for the time that I didn't like. Maybe it was that for the hollow for the chest and the infected with the every morning for the without that people with the tangle. Each other the eyelashes for the dust inside the eyes to feel my roots decaying. See my soul wasted away. It was a light, it was a light. It was a tossing and turn for the fear, for the life, for the shadows of moving, for the wind is howling enough, and I'm stuck with the light, with the glowing, with the weather, the easy step. For this is the protecting of where is that my light would be running in my mind for someone can like silence that speaks for the lips, and this is the eyes that shine with the million stories. And some of hers and feeble mind for these and the melodies in the drown, but the beat for this is something peaceful about that water, for the way it touches you, pulls you up to the depths. Wrapping angles and over the stiffer together with layers of soft with the calling to me. The sign can't resist for the crushing waves and giving kisses and melodies and confused by the fluttering of a better self. And you don't deserve someone better, you deserve a better self. And our love is whether or not you could enjoy it enough. And while it lasts and hope and love and outlast and never passing the written over the pages. And maybe it was the memories of the notes, and you could take the heart captive and keep it inside of the cage.
Pressure in the sky.
Bitch, selfish, narcissist, lazy, arrogant. Bitch, and you can only snitch. You can only write as long as you can tell it. Bad story for the only spring days and the warmer for the birds tramping. Know the information isn't true. Never be lying, never be caught up, and your karma will come back to you. But maybe brained over by that karma. You can find the knowing with something within, put down that rabbit hole for you. You can play the games of the grammy for the intuition, brothers down for the hospital sheep. You can face the clowns and who put up the hair for the colors in the sun. Slaps on the frown for the look at the ceiling for the pink and brown, but you can know who's constantly, who's the board for whose life was, or whose age, or whose looks, or who remains the same for the stupid games you can play.
Again, they're playing tonight
that
at
to
the
be
Moore
the glamour.
Theater.
No surprise, we keep the skies enough for this to be hidden for the ways they glide, they ride, and they sunrise.
Again, thank you guys for being
They
here.
would be the backstand.
Ruben?
You're the person with so much, but not for the earn, for the hurting, for someone to skip and missing out their turn, for the burning of every envy, for the jealousy, for the manifestation, for the ears, with the other, for your own success, and to find that stress for someone making you feel less enough, for the belief that your blessing beyond the definition that every moment you exist. Something to not just sit and listen because the star hasn't fallen yet, for the it means it can't glisten. Start for the predicting of the online star, for the feeling of the worthwhile enough and walking extra mile for the living of the day, for the each second, for you can find the remembrance of the universe and still be ready. Yourself for not being a weapon, for nothing is the only find of the day tomorrow is not yours. This is something I was able to say for the not much and want to say for the work without you able to wait for the something else's. It was the way out. It was the way to arise, and you want too much, you have to give it to people more than enough for these to be those nonsense. And you can find it under the bed for whatever warned you about and thinking again, but maybe I don't want to make that self with the feeling of joy for the manifestation of myself, and I can be my own companion. For the database from this would be the good of it. Please use me as my eyes. Escape that and not be using it all for the wish you would not believe it. Gonna live it, but if I must sustain me for the well, I tried. This is the voice for this, the glance, the chance of tearing away for this. The millions of raise the pedals to die. You can find that too. Free me for the ducks and cuts. Is it working okay? Maybe if you solder your poems into the bones and turn those twilight hours into chapter years and make this manifested time for the endless of when my eyes are flatline. You can tell me the seconds and we're painless. Was toxic enough for the first thought, but I thought it was the lips, and it was the lips for the second that I thought was the liking of the lips, and the felt for the home in the moment for the lips that met mine. Finally, I thought for the time that I didn't like. Maybe it was that for the hollow for the chest, the infected with the every morning for the without that people with the tangle, and jetted the eyelashes with the dust inside the eyes to fill my roots decaying. See my soul wasted away. It was a bright, it was a light. It was a tossing and turn for the fear, for the life, for the shadows of moving, for the wind is howling enough, and I'm stuck with the life of the glowing, with the weather that leads and step to this is the protecting of where is that my light would be running in my mind for someone can like silence that speaks for the lips, and this is the eyes that shine with the million stories, and some of hers and feeble mind for these and the melodies, and the drown with me for this is something peaceful about that water, for the way it touches you, pulls you up to the depths, wrapping angles and over the stiffer together in layers of soft for the calling to me. The sign can't resist for the crushing waves and giving kisses and melodies and confused by the fluttering of better self. And you don't deserve someone better, you deserve a better self. And our love is whether or not you can enjoy it enough, and while it lasts and hope and love and outlast and never passes the rhythm over the pages, and maybe it was the memories of the notes, and you could take the heart captive and keep it inside of the cage. Bitch, selfish, narcissist, lazy, arrogant. Bitch, and you can only snitch. You can only write as long as you can tell it. Bad story for the lonely spring days and the warmer for the birds tramping. Know the information isn't true. Never be lying, you will be caught up, and your karma will come back to you, but maybe ran over by that karma. You can find the knowing with something will end with down that rabbit hole. For you can play the games of the Grammy for the intuition, brothers down for the hospital sheep. You can face the clowns and who pulled up the hair for the glimmers of the sun. Slaps on the frown for the look at the ceiling for the pink and brown, but you can know who's constantly, who's the board for whose life was, and whose age, but whose looks for who remains the same for the stupid of the games who you can play. It was a piece for that to be the glamour. No surprise, and cute disguise enough for this to be hidden for the ways of glide they ride and they sunrise. it would be the back sting. Hear the person with so much, but not for the earn, for the hurting, for someone to skip, and it's not their turn for the burning. Of every envy, for the jealousy, for the manifestation of the ears, with your own success, to find that stress with someone making you feel less enough, for the believing you're blessed beyond the definition that every moment you exist. Something to not just sit and listen, but because the star hasn't fallen yet, for the it means it can't listen. Start for the predicting of the online star, for the feeling of the work wild enough, and walking extra mile for the living of the day, for the each second, for you can find the remembrance of the universe, and she'll be rapping yourself for not need a weapon, for nothing is the only find of the day. Tomorrow is not yours, for this is something I will able to say, for not much you want to say, but the work without each you pave the way for the something else's. It was a way out. It was a way to arise, and you want too much, and out of the give the people more than enough, and just to be those monsters, and you could find them under the bed for whatever warned you about, and thinking again, well, maybe I don't want to make that self, for the feeling of joy, for the manifestation of myself, and I can be my own companion. For the database from this would be the good. That's a please use me as my eyes. Escape that and be using it all for the wish.